about Rally, a little bit more information about that. We started the journey with Rally, or at that time Spyrix, in 2007 from Austin, Texas. And at that time, we just tried to find a solution how to help political causes to get the money through the internet. I mean, it was exactly, well, right before Obama did his campaign, which was most likely the most successful campaign ever. But at that time, yeah, we did a lot of volunteering in the political area, and we just saw that there was no solution for politicians to get the money online. So we started to work on Pyrix, which was basically a competitor to PayPal, with a few differences, so that we did not just offer a button, but we also offered like a whole page where you could just put all the payments information and donate to your cause. The cause was able basically to analyze where the money came from, what campaigns were successful, which were not, and so on and so on. And from what we learned through Pyrix, well, we tried to facilitate what we learned from Pyrix into Rally, which was basically that many causes didn't even have the resources to build a website. So first of all, we added to Rally, in comparison to Pyrix, a little content management system, so that every cause was able to have its own web presence. In the next step, there was also added like a lot of integration into social media and so on. But again, I don't want to speak too much about Rally, a little bit more about the cause economy. So yeah, today I'm gonna present you the fascinating research our team is working on, and show you a little more how this cause economy changes the economy how we know it today. So let's see, if you at the moment think about like purchasing a product, think about it in a way that you see you have two products which have exactly the same layout in a first step, but then with one of these products is values aligned, which are close to the values you believe in. So if it comes to that, what product would you purchase? That's the first question. Most likely you'd purchase that product which is aligned to your values, right? And that's basically what I'm going to talk all about. So let's start the journey a couple of hundred years ago, when we still were well, humans were agrarians at that time, right? So we lived in small villages, we were tight-knit, rarely had exposure to the outside world, and codependent on our community. So that was the situation back then. We traded eggs and meats for clothes and flour, and consumed only what we needed. We lived together, prayed and feasted together, and if our village failed, we died together. We were aligned based on needs and values, but there was progress, and progress was good. The Industrial Revolution changed almost everything about our economy, our relationships with one another. Companies and bureaucracies grew enormous. We imported cheap products from distant sources. We scaled agriculture to obscene levels, and while decimating the family farm. Nearly everything we bought was cheap and plentiful, and we had money to spend on it. By and large, we shunned our neighbors, feared others, and glorified consumption. By the second half of the 20th century, we were far, far disconnected from our agrarian roots. Thus, our public values of the last century have reflected our different alignment than those of the century before. And then the unexpected happened. The internet was born. With the internet, we could connect on information, people, places that were alien to us. Here we could find common cause in small distributed groups that we could have never connected with before. Suddenly, the values that we held close could be connected to others who shared similar views. We could collaborate, we could find like-minded people, products, and causes. And we could affect change at both a local scale and a global scale without having to succumb to the giant bureaucracies that previously governed us. So think about that. If you think about that, do you have examples from today where this happened? What do you think? What I see is, for example, the Arabian Spring. And just to keep it neutral, whatever we think about it, the internet made it possible. You see, it was possible, suddenly possible, that people connected who would never have been able to connect before because of the political circumstances or whatever. So that is really a huge change that we see in global economy. Okay, let's go on. So now in the value graph, which is what you see here, aggregated data about the nations and purchasing behavior tied to core data and cost values incentivizes corporations to engage customers and causes in ways that make their products and services more desirable. As a result, consumers make values-aligned purchase decisions and causes find new sources to funds to further their missions, further revealing what consumers care about their actions. There is an opportunity for such relationships to stem from nearly every cause created on Rally. Animal causes are big, as is the marketplace for related consumer goods. So the connection then is the common value to the donors, people who align themselves with both the cause and the product. A company can then develop a values-based strategy using data as a vehicles for articulating customer-centric goals and objectives will succeed in this new frontier. For me, working at a tech startup is exciting because by definition you are working on where the economy is going. Rally, because of its focus around values, is very unique because I get to work on with a team on where the economy should go. So let's go on and see. The willingness to give is associated with financial circumstances closely related to wealth and incomes, as well as a sense of financial security. Consumers' confidence rose in 2010, and research shows that when the trust in financial future rises, so do donations. Proportionally, however, the poorest households give away the largest share of their incomes. So, who gives? Well, individuals are the main donors. They represent 33% of all giving and can be broken into 6 donor types. So this is what you see on the slide right now. 23% support organizations that have helped them or loved ones in the past. For 18%, give to well-known organizations, often through payroll deductions is very important. 16% give to organizations they feel are making the greatest social impact, which could be something important for you as well. So 16% choose organizations that match their religious beliefs. 14% look for small organizations where their gift makes a bigger difference. And 13% of the people or the donors give to organizations where they know people or where their friends also give. So you see how important the network is for giving. These individuals value the private benefits of philanthropy. For example, feel better about oneself, social recognition, paying back, etc. More than the public benefits. Give because others may also benefit. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So the question could be, how do we define a cause for ourselves? Well, a principle, aim, or movement that because of deep commitment one is prepared to defend or advocate. That is what we count a cause. So we at Rally estimate that there is more than 1 billion causes all over the world. What you see here on this map is basically where most donors are located in the United States, because that's our main data at the moment. Okay, so yeah, in the end, it's like a lot of people are in need of help from time to time. So we have worked with causes raise hundreds of millions of dollars per year, but also with Darius, for example, who raised $300 for school supplies so he didn't have to burden his single mother. Or Hillary's helpers raising $10,000 to help people battling aplastic anemia. Let's go on. Okay, so how do corporations play into this upturned world? Marketing was once about getting people to like products. Now it is about aligning products with the values of their potential customers. Let's look at an example. Unlike Honda, Toyota spotted this shift away from conspicuous consumption to conspicuous conservation when designing the Prius. Consciously designed to look different than other cars, it was tailored to consumers looking for willingness to pay for environmental bona fides. Toyota's evolution from supply chain to value chain is a stellar example of the shift in marketing that is being driven by the values graph. So, let me give you a glimpse about how Rally supports the cause economy. We have built a platform that makes it easy for causes, consumers, and companies to connect. Here you can see how a brand, in that case IWC, has paired with cause, the Darwin Foundation, to sponsor a fundraising competition. The consumer who wins the competition will be able to a trip to the Galapagos Islands. It all ties together nicely for the cause brand and supporter. There is an old speaking that says, "Tell me more who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are." This remains true on the internet. The average cause on Rally has 423 supporters, and while those supporters are primarily thought of as potential donors, they have substantial value locked in their social graphs that can be contributed to a cause. Email accounts abound with value contacts. The average Facebook user has 334 friends, and the average Twitter account has 126 followers. With giving platforms like Rally, supporters can donate to those friends and followers. Then causes can send messages of progress through those channels, though that an exponentially larger group of potential customers is aware of the cause and its values. Are we headed back to the future? Yes and no. We are entering a golden age of values-aligned connectivity. It has been hundreds of years since we had the opportunity to have our values so clearly dictate our actions and expressions. But it is technology that is largely empowering this awakening. And unlike tools and techniques pre-industrial revolution, technology does not stand still. Far from it. Moore's law, Mitkoff's law, causes the realm of all mandate that things will change rapidly, even in law. Consequently, the way we think of the cause consumer-corporation relationship will no doubt change. Perhaps every corporation will embrace causes issues at their core, as we can see in the emerging B Corporation movement in the United States. Perhaps consumers will manufacture their own goods with 3D printers. Perhaps causes themselves will become so aligned with consumers that they will become indistinguishable. Whatever the outcome, you can be sure that the cause economy and the values graph will be relevant topics for the years to come. So that was basically what I wanted to talk about to you. And well, last but not least, let me give you a little deeper idea what we did during the last couple of months. Well, we were close to bankrupt like a couple of months ago because we really needed money. We hired a lot of people in the US and it was really expensive, especially when it came to developers there. San Francisco developers, Facebook versus Google war, and so on. So we had to find a way how we could get the money. What we did was crowdfunding, basically, and we managed it to crowdfund $8 million within 7 days through Angel's List, which was huge, and which gave us the chance to go on with Rally.